Bertrand Russell once said that no one can sit at the bedside of a dying child and still believe in God. This is indeed one of the major arguments put forward by atheists as reason for their unbelief. How a good, all-powerful God can allow children to suffer and die. It hardly makes sense, and it highlights how the problem of evil and suffering in our world beggars our imagination. In fact, it is more tolerable and bearable when the illness happens to any of the older folks than to little children or young people who have their lives ahead of them. The pain feels different, and we often go to any length to get them the help and healing they need. As such, we can understand the plight of Jairus in today's gospel, the length he had to go to get help for his daughter. We are told that he was one of the leading officials of the synagogue, but that means nothing at this time. Many of the religious leaders of Jesus' time don't believe in him nor accept him. But Jairus, in his desperation, did not think about his career, nor put his ambition first. He sought Jesus out, fell at his feet and begged him repeatedly, "My daughter is at the point of death. Come and lay your hands on her, so that she may be made well and live." And Jesus obliged him. Dear friends, the theme common to all the readings today is the threat of evil, suffering, and death. There has been an awful amount of suffering and death in the world. Evil is too well documented to be dismissed as just a religious concept. Yes, if God so pleases, He could have made a world where there will be no pain or death. However, in His infinite wisdom, He made this one. Thus, it profits no one to be invested in dismissing God on account of the evil in the world. What we must do in the face of evil and suffering is what Jairus did. Invite Jesus. We must be humble enough to fall at His feet and beg Him repeatedly to intervene. This is the proper Christian response: to yield the situation to Christ. Jesus always heeds the repeated, humble, desperate, fervent cry of His children for help, because God cognizes suffering differently from the way we do. Psalm 46 verse 1 says that God is our refuge and strength, an ever-present help in time of trouble. So God is on our side. God is on the side of life. He wants us to live, to be healthy, to be safe, and to be blessed. He helps us because, the first reading tells us He does not delight in the death of the living. For He created all things that they might exist. Suffering and death are not what He made us for. The same reading tells us that it was through the devil's envy that death entered the world. We must not forget that suffering, infirmity, and death became part of the human condition through the works of the devil. Be that as it may, we are not helpless or hopeless if we let God. 1 John chapter 3 verse 8 tells us that He came to destroy the works of the devil in our lives if we let Him. And letting God requires one thing: faith. If you notice, there were so many other infirmed there, seeking Jesus and touching Him, yet Jesus knew that there was only one person there who touched Him with faith. That is the touch that matters. It is not enough to come to or be around Jesus or to be a churchgoer, as many people do these days. They come to Mass and even receive the sacraments, but they are not changed and don't seem any different. The disposition, the faith with which we come to encounter Jesus is what makes all the difference. And that is the faith we saw in Jairus and the woman today. Even when Jairus' faith was going to waver, Jesus said to him, "Do not be afraid, only have faith." Dear friends, faith is necessary for the miraculous. And may your faith be just enough to allow you to touch and be touched by God.